Bombardier, you're the plane guys, right? Where did you come from, buddy?
Trauma.
Okay, yeah, gonna need a little more than that.
We were founded by Joseph Armand Bombardier, who at 13 built a miniature locomotive propelled by clock mechanisms from a local jeweler. He kept making toys for his siblings since he was the oldest of 8.
Wow, so like a prodigy. That sounds wholesome, not traumatic.
Wait for it! He then built his first snowmobile at 15, but his dad ordered him to dismantle it because it had an open propeller, which could, cut off all sorts of things you need for life.
Oh no, is this where the trauma comes in?
No, he was a good boy, did what his father said, including going to seminary school, but he didn't like it, so then he went to Montreal to study electrical and mechanical engineering.
Oh, was his father mad about him not taking his seminary advice, so he abandoned him, causing lifelong trauma?
No, his father was super supportive and actually built him his first workshop where he opened a garage and served all types of machines, from saws to grain threshers, cars, and water pumps. Then he even built a small hydroelectric dam on the property to power the shop.
Okay, this sounds like a Hallmark movie. How the hell is this traumatic?
Wait for it! He then married the love of his life, Yvonne, in 1929, and together they had 6 children.
Was she working a grueling big business job in the big city and only met him when she came back home and realized she wanted a small town guy who loved her for her?
No, and then in January 1934, their 2-year-old son Yvonne got sick with peritonitis, which is the swelling of the inner walls of the abdomen covering the organs, and it can perforate and rupture them.
Oh, I'm seeing the trauma.
I tried to take him to the hospital, but there was a huge blizzard and nothing was made that could get through it. He'd been trying for years to make something that could work. The small Quebec villages were just too isolated, and his son died.
Man.
And Joseph decided that that was never going to happen again to anyone.
What?
Joseph refused to let his son die in vain and used the pain to create a revolutionary sprocket and wheel track system that finally made snow travel possible.
Wait, did he just become the John Wick of snowmobiles?
Yeah, he then starts production in 1936 of the B7, B for Bombardier, and it could hold, get this, 7 people.
On the nose. I like it.
He knows that sometimes too much snow and ice would get stuck to the wheel spokes, so he just assembled a press that made solid wheels, removing the problem altogether.
Okay, he just casually assembled a solid wheel press, and I need a YouTube video to explain how to change a light bulb.
Yeah, well, you see, he wasn't, stupid.
Yeah, that'll do it.
But he sold so many, he needed more snowmobile production, and his next factory was finished January 29th, 1941.
Oh, I'm seeing a not great sales time coming.
Yeah, he created the B-12, which could hold 12 people like a snowmobile bus. It was selling great, and then bam! Canada declares war on the Germans.
Yeah, this part always gets hard. So did he shutter for a while?
No, he offers his services to the Minister of Munitions and Supplies and was told to make a new snowmobile for troops to get through Norway, because that bitch snowy.
Okay, so what did he...
He created the B1 snowmobile.
Okay, he started with the B7, secondly made the B12, and then, thirdly, the B1.
Oh, look, long-term numbering wasn't his thing.
Okay, so what did he do with it?
Well, the Canadians liked it so much they ordered 130 of them to be delivered in 4 months. Then in 1943, he developed the khaki.
Wouldn't that be like a terrible color for snow camouflage?
It wasn't khaki, it was khaki. You're spelling it wrong in your head. It was an armored snowmobile.
That is the coolest James Bond shit I have ever seen.
Then he had a Mark II version known as the Penguin and a Mark III version.
Known as the...
Mark III.
Man, you were not kidding about the bad naming thing.
Yeah, but it didn't matter. He made over 1,900 tracked vehicles for the war effort. At the end of the day, it's important to remember, it looked dope as hell.
That it does. Okay, post-war.
Everybody wants snowmobiles again, and their new factory couldn't keep up, so they made a new assembly line factory in 1947.
Did he create a new snowmobile?
Yeah, the C-18, which was an expanded version of the C-12. Can you guess how many people it fit?
18.
25 school children, but yes, 18 adults. It was regularly used like a winter school bus.
What all could these things do?
Dude, so much! They were ambulances, rescue service providers, transported missionaries, helped install and maintain electrical and telephone lines, transported materials from lumber, mining, and prospecting goods. They did everything.
Wow, I just did not picture this thing being used as a snowy big rig.
Yeah, it could do so much. And in the 1947 to 1948 year, Bombardier's company made $2.3 million, which would be like $30 million today.
Okay, so smooth sailing afterwards?
No, incredibly rocky sailing. In 1949, the Quebec government adopted a policy demanding that all rural routes had to be cleared too.
Did it take them till 1949 to realize that rural people also need to go places?
Yes, it did, but because of that, there were less snowmobiles and sales fell by $1 million.
Ugh, that's brutal.
It was, but you know what? Snow is just a terrain. So what if we made all-terrain vehicles?
Oh, terrain crossover.
Yeah, so we modified the B-12 and called it the BT, or Bombardier truck. And then we made a C-40 C4 model, which was the first all-track vehicle we had.
Was the C4 vehicle an explosive success?
You're an idiot, but yes, it led to later very successful vehicles like the R-Series, which had interchangeable wheels and skis. But the big one was the TTA, or the Tractor Tracking Attachment, which made these bad boys able to operate so much better everywhere.
Okay, it can't be everywhere.
Dude, here's our stuff laying pipe in Scotland, plowing sand in the Sahara, and being part of an Antarctic expedition.
Is that the one with Sir Vivian Fuchs? I heard that guy.
Yeah, turns out he had quite a few left to give since he went all the way there. He's using what Joseph considered his greatest success, the Mustang. That sucker could do anything, and even though it was first made in 1953, it's still sold today.
Wow, that is incredible. It's cool to know that his best invention is still being sold today.
Oh, my sweet winter child.
It's sweet summer child.
We're in Canada. It's always winter.
Fair.
In 1958, he developed the first miniature snowmobile, one that could be used for 1 or 2 people for work or this crazy thing called fun.
That's awesome!
Yeah, he finished up in April, but by then the snow was starting to thaw, but he still wanted to test it out. So a missionary friend of his was like, hey, let's take it north. Come hang out with me with the Ojibwe people.
Okay, so he tested a new, possibly dangerous snowmobile on a boys' trip. I see why women live longer.
Yeah, the Ojibwe people were like, this is awesome. They apparently played on it nonstop for like 3 days.
Huh. 2 wise men brought them snowmobiles and Jesus. Weird crossover.
Yeah, and then it became the most popular snowmobile of all time.
What was it called?
The Ski Dog.
Wait, but Ski-Doo is the most popular one of all time.
Yeah, we kind of goofed it on our pamphlets, and the misprint was Ski-Doo, so we were like, that'll do.
Well, the most iconic snowmobile name ever was an accident.
Yeah, Joseph had essentially created a brand new activity and sport. We sold 225 in the first year and over 8,000 just 2 years later. He'd done it, making everyone able to traverse even the deepest snow.
It's like the best redemption arc ever. I'm so happy for him.
Yep. Then he died.
Oh, for fuck's sake. He still succeeded before he died. He just could have left it at that.
True, but I love bearing bad news. Anyway, the company lived on through his son-in-law. His name was... Well, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. He thought snowmobiles were great, but they were seasonal. What if we moved on to things that worked all year round?
Like cars?
Better! Things that run on rails!
Oh, like my cheating ex-girlfriend.
The hell? Trains! Jesus. We jumped into the mass transit business. In 1974, we got our first big contract to build subway cars for the city of Montreal, which was cool because we had never built a train before in our lives.
So you went from making snowmobiles to trains with nothing in between. Seems like a bit of a leap.
We just thought of it as a really, really big Ski-Doo that you can't steer. It was a huge success, so we started buying up struggling rail companies all over Europe. We became one of the biggest train manufacturers in the world. We make everything from high-speed trains in Germany to subway cars in New York City.
Wait, so you went from snow to rails. How'd you get to planes?
Same logic. Lorenz saw that the Canadian government was trying to sell off a struggling money-losing company called Canadair. We were like, planes are just sky Ski-Doos.
Is everything just a Ski-Doo to you?
Kinda. We bought Canadair in 1986. They were famous for making the CL-215, this awesome water bomber plane that looked like a big yellow boat with wings. It's the firefighter of the sky.
Okay, that is pretty cool. It's like you have a vehicle for every element. You're the Avatar.
After Canadair, we bought a struggling private jet company called Learjet, and then a turboprop company. We basically became Canada's national aerospace champion by collecting all the infinity stones of struggling Canadian plane makers.
So you guys built an empire out of failures that you found hope in? Oh my gosh, you're my wife.
Do you need a hug?
Maybe.
Anyway, that's where we had our biggest idea yet. We saw that airlines were using big planes like 737s for short routes, which was not efficient. So we made a smaller, more comfortable, and super efficient jet just for those regional routes.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
Right? We called it the C-Series. It was the most advanced, fuel-efficient, and quietest jet in its class. It was a game changer, and also ruinously expensive to develop.
Oh no, I sense more trauma ahead.
We basically bet the entire company on this one plane. It was billions of dollars over budget and years behind schedule, or what most government contractors call normal. The Quebec government had to give us $1 billion bailout just to keep the lights on. It almost took us down.
But it worked, right? Like the C-Series still exists today.
It is, but it's not called the C-Series anymore.
What happened?
Oh, our good pals at Boeing got a little nervous because our plane was better than anything they had. So they complained to the US government that we were using unfair Canadian subsidies, and the US slapped a massive 300% tariff on us, basically making it impossible to sell the plane in the US.
Well, yeah, your plane was better than Boeing. It stays airborne.
Yeah, and we were shafted. We didn't know what to do. So we took our perfect, game-changing airplane, the culmination of all of our dreams, and gave a majority stake in the whole program to our biggest European rival, Airbus, for a total price of $1.
You sold your dreams for $1?
It was a 4D chess move. By letting Airbus take over, the plane was now technically assembled in an Airbus factory in Alabama, which magically made all the tariffs disappear.
That's not how that works. Why is politics always a game of loopholes?
It was a real soaking move, but Airbus renamed it to the A220, and now it's one of the most popular jets in the world.
So you lost everything, Airbus got all the credit, all because Boeing was a dick.
Yeah, it was another traumatic event. We had to sell off almost everything to pay off our debts. We sold the water bomber program, the turboprop business, our train division, and even our original snowmobile business.
You sold Ski-Doo, but that's what made it all happen.
It lives on as its own awesome company, BRP, which we'd also created some more things for you might have heard of called Sea-Doo and Can-Am.
Ugh, this hurts. All of those are iconic.
We had to let it go to focus on what was left, making fancy private jets for billionaires and celebrities. We make the Challenger and the Global Express the private jets of choice for Taylor Swift to avoid driving 15 minutes.
So after all that, running a massive global spanning operation, saving rural people from snow, now you just make private jets for rich people?
Yeah, we made our name with snowmobiles saving people from white powder. Now our private jets are where a lot of people do white powder.